Trump is losing big time, but inside of that glowing orange orb he calls a head,
because I win.
What's the name of that game anyways?
I win.
He's playing a game called I Win, like the toddler he is. Quite the contradictory stance from the crowd that freaks the fuck out about participation trophies, right? Job numbers are terrible, y'all.
If 32,000 is the headline number for ADP, which is obviously the worst in quite some time.
Worse in quite some time? That's a Bloomberg burn. And what is Trump's answer to all of this? Pull his nominee to head the Bureau of Labor and Statistics, just like he fired the former director in August.
Why did you fire the head of the Bureau of Labor Statistics? Because I think our numbers were wrong.
Did that clip remind anybody else of this? The defense is wrong.
The defense is wrong.
When Trump doesn't like the numbers, he just changes the game, like the whiny little bitch he is.
I win.
Why do you win?
I got a 2, a 4, a 10, an 8, and a 6.
And while he shut down the government, his attempt to blame the Democrats is not working.
Donald Trump chose this shutdown.
Let's get into it. But first, unlike Trump's tanking numbers, our subscriber numbers here at Really American Media are going up, up, up. So be sure to come along for the ride. Subscribe. Ooh, that almost rhymed. Trump's economy sucks, and surprising no one, some dismal economic data came out this week.
Obviously the worst in quite some time. Goods producing jobs down by 3,000 within that category. Construction off by 5,000. People have been waiting for that. Manufacturing down by 2,000. 28,000 service industry jobs, ADP says, were lost. 19,000 in leisure and hospitality, and professional and business services down.
Trump responded to that data by throwing one of his classic tantrums.
The White House is withdrawing the nomination of E.J. Antoni to lead the Bureau of Labor Statistics, according to a White House official.
Oh my gosh, look at this photo from when Trump announced Antoni as his nominee to head the BLS. Antoni looking like he was forced to go on a play date with Trump because their moms are friends.
Their official within the White House declined to say the reasons for withdrawing the nomination.
We know the reason Trump pulled his nomination. It's the same reason he fired the former director back in August.
Because I think our numbers were wrong.
And by wrong, he means he doesn't like them. The numbers were definitely right, just like this month's job numbers are probably right. But because Trump doesn't like them, he's going to nominate someone else.
Antoni's nomination, the AP says, which was announced in August, was an attempt by Trump to gain greater control over the federal agency responsible for producing key economic data, including those monthly job reports and consumer price index, which is used to measure inflation.
But he couldn't control the numbers. According to payroll processor ADP, Trump's economy lost around 32,000 jobs in September. But those job numbers are unofficial because in the midst of the government shutdown that Trump is 100% responsible for, official numbers are not going to come out this Friday as expected. And Trump pulling Antoni's nomination came at the same time the Supreme Court delivered Trump a rare setback.
Reaction now from the White House to that Supreme Court decision to allow Lisa Cook to stay on the Federal Reserve Board. The White House says President Trump lawfully removed Lisa Cook for cause from the Federal Reserve Board of Governors. We look forward to ultimate victory after presenting our oral arguments before the Supreme Court in January. That's a statement from a White House spokesperson. So, look, the White House is asserting that they were right to do what they did, and they're going to have it out in front of the Supreme Court. But this delay now means that Cook will serve at least until January.
The Supreme Court could have said, yes, President Trump, okay?
Yes, and some legal analysts are suggesting that means that they do have some thought that she might be in the right and that she might be able, the president might not be able to fire her directly.
A plethora of not great news in the middle of a government shutdown Trump absolutely orchestrated. And when it comes to the numbers about the shutdown, Trump's not going to like those either.
47% of the people say that the Republicans are responsible for the shutdown, and 30% say the Democrats. And why is that? Because Donald Trump chose this shutdown. The Republican Party chose this shutdown. Look at what the Republicans are doing. They're attributing blame to the Democrats that does not exist, whereas the Democrats have the opportunity to point out to America once again, Donald Trump rules Washington with an iron fist. He controls the House, the Senate, and the Supreme Court, and the White House. He's the guy who chose this, and he's the guy who's been engaged in economic damage to the country. This is one more thing on top of the tariff taxes that he's caused, on top of the damage to our farmers, our manufacturers that he's caused. Now this, his choice, his party, his shutdown.
The timing of the shutdown and MAGA trying to blame Democrats for the shutdown is obviously an attempt by MAGA to score some political points ahead of the 2026 midterms. But when it comes to key voting blocks that turned out for Trump in 2024, he is really losing their support, and GOP strategists are freaking out. Unemployment is rising for two of those key voting blocks, Black voters and younger voters. Maybe they're finally realizing that Trump is an incompetent liar.
America has given us an unprecedented and powerful mandate. We have taken back control of the Senate. Wow, that's good.
Wow. Didn't that sound like a sarcastic wow from Trump? Almost like even Trump doesn't believe that a president getting less than 50% of the vote can be called a mandate, because the mandate never existed and Republicans are falling apart. Trump controls the House and the Senate, and they still can't get their shit together, still trying to come up with any way they can blame Democrats.
We turned off that money spigot to healthcare funding for illegal aliens. The Democrats, in their legislative text, want to turn it back on. So gave those people access to healthcare benefits. So what the Democrats are engaging in is a slide.
So that is not true. So let me tell you several points that are true. The Democratic proposed continuing resolution does not provide free health care to undocumented immigrants, nor are Democrats advocating for that. But even beyond that, undocumented immigrants cannot buy health care plans on the ACA exchange. Therefore, they cannot benefit from the subsidies that the Democrats are talking about. In addition to that, they cannot enroll in Medicare, Medicaid, or CHIP, the Children's Health Insurance Program. It is important to note providing free health care to undocumented immigrants is against federal law.
They just cut his audio. I love it.
I think what you saw yesterday with J.D. Vance was his sort of tryout for the 2028 Hunger Games. Can I be as big a liar as Donald Trump?
MAGA is clearly concerned about their chances for 2026, but Democrats winning in the upcoming midterm elections, it's not guaranteed, and Trump knows that. That's why he's rigging elections in Texas and trying to rig elections in places like Indiana, Ohio, Missouri, and Florida.
JD is here, speaking with Governor Braun right
Even Indiana is not having this MAGA bullshit, booing loudly when J.D. Vance visited Indianapolis back in August. He was meeting with MAGA Mike Braun, Indiana's governor, to try to convince him to call a special legislative session to redraw Indiana's maps, to rig them in Trump's favor. And although that special session has not yet been called, it's likely it will be, because they really want to try to eliminate the only two Democrats who are representing Hoosiers in Congress. Because what does Trump do when he doesn't like the numbers?
Because I think our numbers were wrong.
He cheats. And those of us who are sitting on the side of common sense, decency, and democracy have one hell of a fight ahead of us for 2026 and beyond. And we are so glad to be in this fight with each and every one of you. So be sure to subscribe. For Really American Media, I am Corinne Straight. Thanks so much for watching. Let's keep this conversation going. Share this video with someone in your life, and I'll see y'all next time.